Hello, BookTube. I'm back with another top 10 list, and this time it's top 10 soundtracks to films. There are um, two runners up. I usually do a sort of, or honorable mention, I should say, but because, uh, well, one is, well, they're both TV, so that's why I chose them. They're both things from TV, and this I was doing for films, but it were series. Pennies from Heaven it was a 1978 series done by Dennis Potter, and it's various songs, but they're not original songs. Well, they were original at the time, but they're 1930s and 40s songs, and it's a bit of a musical. But the actors do not sing the songs; they mime to them. They lip sync to the songs, and it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's about a guy he's selling sheet music and records, and he just loves the popular music of the time. And it's very interesting how Dennis Potter does this, and it's a bit of a mini series, and like everybody sort of goes into a dance and sings like your normal musical, but then if I remember right, like most of the way through it, then they all go back to their original positions, and then sort of the story carries on. It's as if it's in his imagination, but then after a while, the people don't go back to where they were originally. So there's a blurring of reality and dream. I think if I remember right, but it's a long time since I seen it, but I really liked it. And the other one is the music for the Babylon 5 TV series from 94 to 98 by Christopher Frank. Um, and it is just wonderful. And there must be at least a dozen CDs that were released to go along with it. It just they're just it's just wonderful music, it's, as well as a great TV show. But yeah, so let's go into the films now. Uh, I don't have them ordered from like 10 to 1 of favorite or anything like that. I've got them ordered for the date of the films. So that's just as simple as that. And the oldest one on here is 1922, and it's Nosferatu. A Symphony of Horror is the sort of subtitle. And it was by Hans Erdmann. And for so long, this just had horrible music. And the whole film was chopped up and reused and all sorts of crap done to it. But it had everything from sort of spiral gyro type jazz to it to you name it. The first time I heard it, or sorry, the first time I watched Nosferatu was way back, sometime in the '80s, and it was had this horrible um, jazz sort of modern jazz soundtrack to it, and it's like no. It's called A Symphony of Horror. It's in the title, so, and the original one is just fabulous. Hans Erdmann. It just works perfectly. Then we go to 1925 and to Ben-Hur, but not the original score. I'm not sure. I off the top of my head, I can't think of who did the original soundtrack to it. But this is the 1993. I'm pretty sure it was 1993 because I have it here. Well, actually, I have it on CD. Carl Davis, the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra for this one. This says 2012, but it was 1993. But this is the soundtrack to Ben-Hur, and it's fabulous. And I've seen it with the London Symphony Orchestra at uh, oh, what is it? The Royal Festival Hall. I was going to say Royal Albert Hall, but the Royal Festival Hall at South Bank. It was just fabulous to watch on the big screen and have Carl Davis direct the London Symphony Orchestra for this. And it was the last time as well that the London Symphony Orchestra did this. And it was a really, really weird thing because every time they did something like this with Carl Davis, it sold out. It absolutely sold out. There was never a seat available. But they decided not to do it anymore. So when he did subsequent ones, it was it was the London Philharmonic Orchestra that was the orchestra that he used. But yeah, it was just a weird thing. I don't know what the reason was, but that was the last one. So I got in right at the last minute to listen to the London Symphony Orchestra. Um, and then we moved to 1927 with Metropolis, and again the original soundtrack, which I think was only recently discovered, like recently in the past decade or so, by Gottfried Hubert, or I'm not sure the pronunciation, but it is a fabulous um, score. It just really works well with the visuals on the screen, and I have not seen that actually in a cinema, so it would be something that would be great to hear, like that, to watch and hear the whole thing, especially if it was done by a live symphony orchestra, and that's how it should be done. That's how you should watch these films. Um, but yeah, there was a more recent one that George Moroder in the 80s, I think it was, that did a rock soundtrack to it. I remember a song by Pat Benatar on there, and it was actually a good soundtrack. It even though he cut the film up a bit and sort of reimagined it and colorized little bits of it, I didn't mind it. Like, and that is heresy for me to say, because even to myself, it's heresy when somebody tampers with the original film. But the music, but it actually worked. Like, it was well done, and the soundtrack wasn't bad. I actually, well, I liked a lot of the songs that were on it. That's for sure. Um, now we get moving. We jump. 20 some years here to 1950 and Sunset Boulevard by Franz Waxman. That is just it's a fabulous film for film noir, but it's just the music just goes along with everything that is happening on there, and to me it's a melding. The reason why I chose these aren't just the soundtracks by themselves, which can, like Ben-Hur, can stand by itself, and I can listen to the soundtrack by itself, and some of the others, but it's a melding of the visuals, the feeling of the film, and just, and I always figure that if you don't hear the soundtrack, then that person has done it correctly. They've done it correctly. Uh, oh, did I? No, sorry, I skipped something. Bugger. Okay, let's back up a bit to still 1927 with Napoleon. But again, Carl Davis, this is 1980 score. Um, and here it is on CD. And that's really, and it's just wonderful. Like the charge and the battle and everything. And I've seen that. I've seen that twice live at the uh, oh yeah, the Royal Festival Hall with Carl Davis, but that time, or both times, was the London Philharmonic Orchestra that was done. So sorry, I've got those back to front there. But yeah, then Sunset Boulevard, which I've talked about. Now we jump up to 1958 with Vertigo, Alfred Hitchcock film. Um, a really good film. It's one of his Hollywood ones that I extremely like. But it's Bernard Herrmann, and the great Bernard Herrmann, who started out in radio and did well. He did the music, the opening music for a lot of, or all the music for Orson Welles' famous Players series, The War of the Worlds on the radio. But the Vertigo, the music, it just sort of it sort of heightens, and he plays around with the sound and the visuals of things, and then there's echoes of something else that, as a scene comes up when the person's thinking about something, there's echoes of other sounds with it. It's echoing his thoughts as well. The whole sound of the music. It just works so well with the visuals. Um, and then again, another Bernard Herrmann, Psycho, 1960. It just, it's just it just heightens the whole thrill of it, and the sort of oddness, weirdness of the visuals and the acting and everything. The story, again, it's another Alfred Hitchcock film, which I'm not I like his Hollywood films, yes, but I like his British films better, because there's a lot of things that you could see that he hadn't quite worked out, and he was working on them. But anyway, it's just the Psycho is just so good, and who doesn't know the shower scene? With the music. That's iconic. For film. Now, uh, now we got another pairing again. So we've had two Carl Davis, we've had two Bernard Herrmann. Now we got Lawrence of Arabia, 1962, by Maurice Jarre. Fabulous film again, with directed by David Lean, and with Peter O'Toole and Omar Sharif, and on and on and on. All the other actors. Jack Hawkins in there is really good. Uh, but yeah, just the music, the whole sort of rolling sort of, beginning when the theme, I guess. Yeah, it's the theme, and it just encompasses everything. And these people, like Carl Davis, they took sort of elements of the music of the time or the place, and folk music at times, like um, Carl Davis did, but also Maurice Jarre. He throws in some Middle Eastern types of music in there, and it just works extremely well. Also with the visuals, and when that theme gets going, it's like it pumps you up. It makes your blood pressure raise, your heart starts racing for it, and I just love it. And it's the exact same thing with Dr. Zhivago, which is 1960. Well, Lawrence Ray was 1962, but Dr. Zhivago, 1965, also David Lean, and Omar Sharif, but Maurice Jarre did the music as well. And Laura's theme is just beautiful music. It's just, the expanse of the scenery, and it just encompasses everything. And it, like, especially the music during the revolution scenes, and it's just it's amazing. It's amazing. These to me, it's like they are flawless. There are other films that are just, are almost as good, but these are the ones when I was thinking of my list that really really stood out for me. That sort of just melded the imagery with the music so well. And then we come up to 1986, to something else, which this might be a bit of a surprise. Like I say, this is not, a 10-1. This is just the newest one, and it's A Kind of Magic, 1986 by Queen, and that was the soundtrack to the Highlander film. And it's just, what can I say? It's Queen. It's big. It's loud, and just works. It just works for the film. And it just the songs are memorable off it as well. I no longer have a copy of the soundtrack, Kind of Magic, but I do want to get it on CD back again. I used to have it in Canada. But yeah, so there's my top 10. There was a couple others that almost made it, like 1996 Train Spotting. That almost made it because I love the film and I love the music that's on there too. Even though some of the types of music I'm not a fan of, but again, it just works well with the film, directed by Danny Boyle. And then you got Seven Samurai, 1954 by uh, Fumio Hayasaka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the director's name correctly, but again, that's just another one that's good. Like I say, you could go on, but these 10 are the ones that really really stand out for me as flawless. Like these are flawless soundtracks to me. Um, and others just didn't make the grade for me. But it's because I love the films as well. Also, and that's the thing that to me had to be the film had to be great, as well as the music, because they have to go hand in hand or hand in glove. They just have to be that perfect for these. So anyway, there it is. That's my top 10 soundtracks. I'm not sure. Well, I'm still working on lyricists. My top 10 lyricists. That's becoming a bit difficult because there's a lot, and I have to sort of figure out a criteria, like I have with everything else. What do I want from that list, and what do I how do I want to define my top 10 lyricists, as I did with this one. I sort of as soon as I figured out what I wanted, like how the music and the film and the imagery go together, it wasn't that difficult to do it. Anyway, thank you, BookTube. If you have any ideas for top 10s, if you want to see more top 10s, then comment below. What's your favorite soundtracks? Are any of these on your list? Or any of the composers on your list? And yeah, if you'd like to see other top 10s, do let me know, and I'll see what I can do to do them. Thank you very much, BookTube.